Hi, Peter Charles here of Hooked Fly Fishing. And today we're going to tie a fly with a bit of an unusual color scheme. It's called the Pink Lady Bucktail. Now some of you might know the Pink Lady wet fly. This is a little bit more elaborate version of that fly, tied in a bucktail streamer style. And yeah, it's different. You got to do something different every now and again. So let's get started looking at the material of the Pink Lady Bucktail. We're going to use a size 2 streamer hook, 3 extra heavy, 7 extra long. Our thread is a red 6/0. Our tail is golden pheasant tips. Our rib is a flat gold tinsel. We're going to use a light pink yarn for the body. You could also use pink floss if you wanted. The throat is yellow saddle hackle. And the wing is blue-gray bucktail with a little bit of brown bucktail over the top. The wing is going to be quite sparse. So let's get started. Now the advantage of using wool instead of floss is we don't have to get real fancy with the laying on of thread. We can just work it back, bring it just to the hook point. Now, when you work with golden pheasant tips, don't strip them off because the tips will become uneven. What I do is I separate some and then I trim them off with my scissors. Now I've got this clump together, and the trick is to put them down without having them go wonky on you. And there's a stray in there I'll just try to pick out. There we go. Now I'm going to put the second black mark well down, so I want it to show. So pull up, make sure it's sitting on top. There. Now for our gold rib. Now hold the rib together with the tail, bind it down, get it out of the way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to trim these bits off here. Now wind this down nice and tight. Bring your thread forward. Now we're going to tie in our pink, and you see I put pink on a bobbin. When you're putting a lot of wool on it, it's a handy way to do it. There's no real downsides to do it, it's just give you some convenience. I'm going to use the rotary vise to do this. I'm making 2 passes. Make sure you don't leave any gaps. Bring that right up to the bump. Now I'm going to hold on tight, and I'm really going to bind this down on the bump. Really get the wool in there tight. Bring it right up to the end where the red thread stops. Bring it back, keep it nice and tight. Now back off the pressure. Now the reason why I pulled it very tight here, I had a bump here. Can you see the bump? By pulling it really tight, you squish it down, squish that yarn down, and you camouflage the fact that there's a bump back there. Okay, now for our rib. Put 1 turn at the back. Be careful not to dislodge your tail. And then come forward. And just make sure the tail stays put. Bring your thread to the back. Now for our gray bucktail. We don't take a lot here. This is not a heavily dressed fly in terms of the wing. So take a modest amount. We're not going to stack it. We're going to leave it shaggy. As usual, strip out the short stuff. Take out any odd strays. We want it just a little bit longer than the tail. Pull up. Wind back. Wind forward. Keep it all on top. And trim off. Finish it. Now bring it to the back. Nice soft loop. There we go. Now for the brown. Again, sparse. We don't want a great clump here. The bucktail on this fly is quite light. Again, pull out the strays and the short stuff. Make sure it's the same length as the gray. Keep it on top. Now don't take it as far down the head as the gray. We want to taper the head. Soft wraps at the back. Bring it forward a little bit. And finally for the yellow saddle hackle. Take a good sized clump here. And I'm using fairly long fibers here. Barbs, I should say. Get a nice healthy chunk here. This is supposed to be a substantial throat. Make sure it's on top. Now I'm going to add a few more. I'd like this throat to be a little bit more substantial than it is. So I'll grab a few more barbs. There we go. Couple loose turns at the back. Bring it forward, finish off the head. Whip finish. And finally some head cement. There we have the pink lady bucktail. It's rather an attractive looking fly. I kind of like it. You know, it's an unusual color scheme with yellow and pink and gray and brown. I don't think I've ever tied a fly with that color scheme before. But, you know, it's different, and sometimes that's what we need to run a fly that looks different. And I would definitely consider using this in green-stained water. I think that probably would work rather well. So give it a try, the pink lady bucktail. Cheers.